welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. There we go. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, July 6th. Today is International Kissing Day. It's also National Fried Chicken Day. And, oh yeah, my favorite, it's National Hand Roll Day. Oh yeah, love me some hand rolls. Thank you for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. Use that fancy little QR code right there in the top hand corner of your screen to see where we live on the internet. And we're live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Twitter Spaces. And if you are participating, want to participate in the show, you can also raise your hand if you have a brief comment on the story most recently presented in Twitter Spaces if you choose to do so. But today we are going to kick it off with the dope dad himself. That's right, it's Rico Lamitte joining me over here in one of the greatest places in the world. That's right. Oh yeah, it's the dope dad himself. He got off of dad duty and was able to come and be live in the studio today. That's right, it's the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte. Oh,
yeah. You gotta give me the applause, man.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. There you go, bro. There you go.
So weak. No, definitely appreciate that, Jason. It's good to be in the greatest place on earth, the greenest of all streets here on Porter. Today, my story is coming from Benzinga, and we have an update on ChatGPT. The question they're asking is, can it be the savior that the cannabis industry needs? So full disclosure, I actually work for an AI software company that helps retailers optimize supply chain management, but I will not be promoting my company or anything like that because I want to take a neutral stance on this one. So while the nerd in me saw working with the company that I do as something I'd short-term be a cool thing to say I did at one point, but once I was able to see firsthand how machine learning could truly help the small to medium-sized operators in the cannabis industry actually compete with billion-dollar backed MSOs, it changed my personal views, and I think people should be looking deeper into it. So whether you've noticed it or not, we are right now in the middle of a massive shift in technological advancement that'll affect pretty much any and everything we do in the foreseeable future. Artificial intelligence, or AI, has the potential to do and change everything. Whether you're on the good or bad side of that change, it all depends on how quickly you and your team adapt. And in this Benzinga article, they really outlined the pros and the cons here pretty well. Much like the internet in the late 90s, understanding AI and how it can be used as a tool to enhance your business's current processes is key to the success there. In mainstream America and in cannabis. Today's article takes a look at OpenAI's ChatGPT, how it stands out with the potential to become a transformative tool for cannabis. While ChatGPT's large language model does offer numerous benefits across the supply chain, mitigating risk is just as important. Some of the pros that the article points out for cannabis sector include streamlined operations, automating tasks like order processing, inventory management, scheduling. It's going to save time and increase efficiency, allowing humans to allocate resources to strategic activities rather than tactical. On the HR side, employee onboarding, training, performance evaluations. ChatGPT utilizes natural language processing and machine learning to automate our HR tasks, generating responses, onboarding documents, and so on. Marketing insights. By analyzing vast amounts of data, ChatGPT empowers businesses with valuable market insights to provide a deep understanding of customer preferences, sales patterns, and emerging trends. And with those insights, businesses can cross-sell and upsell products more effectively than they do right now. However, with all nascent technologies, there are several downsides too. As the article points out, it is crucial to establish necessary monitoring and verification systems to avoid exposure to fake news, Jason, disinformation, hate speech, unscientific knowledge, and common myths that can be put into the model depending on how you use it. Technology is well on its way, but still has a long way to go before it becomes the job-stealing devil that major corporations and the politicians that they pay for claim that it'll be. I think it's no coincidence that major haters of AI revolution are billionaire owners and major corporations. It puts us on a level playing field with them. But I've seen it firsthand. I think more people should look into it. Adding AI processes to your overall supply chain needs. And I'm just interested to hearing from what the rest of the team thinks about this. Is AI something to be afraid of, or is this something that you're going to hop on and be an early adapter and own the future? I'm Rico Lamitte, dopest dad on the street. Love to hear from you, Jason, as a retailer. What do you think?
Man, I'm an AI fan, in all honesty. I mean, anything that helps us to streamline efficiencies and be able to give the customer more that personal type of experience, because there is more time to be on the sales floor as opposed to having to be stuck doing any other type of compliance work or digital work, paperwork, whatever. I see as a win, because anytime you can dedicate more time to being with the people in your customer base and the actual people that are coming in your store and spending money with you, it's always going to be a win.
Agreed.
I hate it.
You hate it. Of course.
Not a fan.
Of course.
Why is that?
Why wouldn't she hate it?
For somebody who writes for a living, and now all of a sudden these people think they can put a few terms into the computer and pop out content. Mm-hmm. I mean, God almighty, have you seen some of the crap that's coming out of it?
Well,
plus, that puts me out of work, frankly, because people think that they can survive on AI. I can guarantee you AI is not going to help with your compliance when it comes to social media and other things.
You don't think so?
I can guarantee you when it has an actual... It cannot figure out this stuff. I had some folks put together a brief list for me, right? Because I was trying to come up with some celebrities and influencers or whatever that we were doing with cannabis.
Right. Mm-hmm.
6 people on the list were dead. I was like, not helpful. I'm like,
it
does not work.
That just
I'm not ready for it. I don't like it. I think it's fine if you want to take a giant document and make bullet points from it. Fine. I could have an intern do that crap. But for actual real content, I think it's crap. I hate it. And I don't know why we are having our first story here sponsored by AI and ChatGPT. I mean, shit.
I mean, Gretchen.
Let me give you the flip side of that. Because I've heard that also. As a writer, people are like, this is going to take your job. But here's the thing, Gretchen. ChatGPT will never have nuance and opinions the way that we do. And you said it best. You said intern. You use it like an intern, right? That read notes version.
These underpaid Americans.
Book and then turned in a book report. You still have to vet that, right?
I hear you. However, and I love that you care about nuance and flair. The real world does not. And that has easily been demonstrated through broadcast journalism and folks who take any Joe Schmo with cell phone camera footage.
Why is Patreon thriving?
Hold on. This talks about, I mean, you look at sports writers have gone the way of the dodo. I mean, so many writers have lost their jobs because of lack of ad money. The news sucks nowadays because no one is paying money for
New York Times
nuance and insight and experience. I'm talking about local newspapers gone.
New York Times.
Where is all this stuff? I'm not talking about the New York Times. I'm talking about general
platforms,
newspapers, and what?
People are paying.
They were on their way out before ChatGPT came into the picture.
I was saying, like paid platforms.
ChatGPT is going to kill it all.
People are paying for real content now. People are paying for content. If you want the real shit, you can pay for it.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
You know who's not going to be okay in all this? Paralegals.
Yeah,
Paralegals are going to be out of business. All right.
Yeah.
That career path is going to be done.
On the flip side, you can see have a lot more people that are able to afford legal services because of AI. You have a lot of people that are going to be able to afford the stuff that you just can't afford, paying hundreds of dollars per hour for legal services, right? So
did you see that recently? What I forget which tournament it is, but one of the major tennis tournaments coming up, they are getting rid of the announcers and they are doing it all by chat.
Is that going to be Wimbledon?
I don't remember if it was Wimbledon or not. I don't think it's Wimbledon.
Is it going to be sponsored by the Saudis?
Coming up. I will figure this out. It is not sponsored by the Saudis.
I'm sure
they are getting rid of all announcers and they're just letting computers commentate and figuring that shit out.
I would say the biggest threat that AI poses is people's willingness to put it above human behaviors. I mean, I read an article where a whole church ceremony was led by AI.
I saw that shit.
And that's just crazy because you actually have technology leaders, industries like in, what is it, the Apple company, that are creating religion surrounding around AI technology. So that's the biggest threat that AI, I guess, poses. But as far as it being used as a tool, it's just like a calculator. I mean, if you wanted to do quicker processing of information or anything like that, that's really what happened to the entertainment industry as a whole. As a musician, I was there from the transition from radio to streaming, music sites, and a lot of artists were pissed about that because you could go on Napster, download their music for free, and they lost revenue because of it. So it's just the evolution of technology that's really taking effect on our day-to-day lives, and I think that's what Gretchen is really pointing out by saying, if we give in to it wholly, we could lose all of what we, I guess, determined to be, content of quality.
But Governor, let me ask you this: would you rather take the sermon, like if you are a spiritual person, like no love lost to anybody who is or not, but if you're a spiritual person, would you rather take the sermon from a simulation who knows exactly what you want to hear, knows exactly what you need to hear, or somebody who don't give a damn about you, who has been taking your money and use that money to pay for their Bentley, to pay for their private jet, and is probably doing some unsavory things behind the scenes?
Well, to me, both of them are just mouthpieces. They're telling me what I need to hear as a person of spiritual faith looking for some sort of connection with, fellowship.
Right.
And so I think they're both exploited in that sense, when we really should be talking about connectivity as humans, connecting with each other and seeing how we can help each other. I don't think any greedy pastor is going to do that, or some, misguided technology.
I think the same could be said about the cannabis industry. You're never going to take away that piece that wants fellowship in cannabis. You want to actually interact with people and the plant. It's a communal plant. It brings us all together. You're not going to want to, unless you're already buying all your shit, like delivery by ease or something like that, you're going to want to interact with real people. You want to smell the plant. You want to touch it. So I don't really think that it's going to be replacing everything in cannabis. I think it's just going to be a tool that can be used to supercharge whatever you're doing.
I hope it's good for cannabis. I feel like I've always been an early adapter, but I feel like I've gone full boomer on this one. I'm lost. I'm lost with it. I don't, whether you're putting out Biggie and Tupac's new greatest hit that, from AI using that to all the other stuff, man, I'm lost on it. I hope from the pros, I could see that being a benefit, but I feel like I'm leaning more with Gretchen on this one, man. I don't know. I'm an old man that's just like, get off my lawn. I don't know.
Adapt or die.
Dude, I'm an old lady beating the ceiling with my broom. This is just nuts. And it is Wimbledon, Jason.
It is Wimbledon.
That's going with AI.
Look at that. I'm a good guesser. Look at that, Gretchen.
So if AI
or you
takes
just
over.
Took it from the chat, but
I didn't take anything from the chat.
And would you rather have AI run and judge Wimbledon, or would you rather have the Saudis?
Oh, Jesus. Are you serious? You can't.
I take the Saudis.
Because the Saudis,
I like the
they're on
Saudis.
tap. They're trying to sports wash.
Saudis got money.
Tennis now too, man. They took over golf.
Yeah.
And now they're about to take over. They're about to take over all the white people. There's all the white people's sports. Well, y'all gonna let that happen?
There's one other big sport too that they're taking over.
Gretchen.
What you gotta say, Jaja? What you got? How do you agree with Gretchen on this one?
I agree with Gretchen. I feel like AI is just like those self-checkouts at the grocery store. People are losing jobs. Nobody knows how to communicate with each other in person anymore because of all of this technology. So I have to agree with Gretchen. I don't like it.
But want to protect you?
With originality.
If you were one of those people working at the checkout line, getting attacked by people, you see all those kinds of videos like that. Wouldn't you rather be protected? Wouldn't you rather these people be attacking some kiosks rather than attacking real people?
Oh, that's ridiculous. Frankly,
they don't attack kiosks.
I think these kiosks.
I get lots of fun interaction with the checkout person. I don't know what you're doing to your checkout people, Rico Lamitte.
Well, when they try to double charge me, when they try to ask me for second ID, like I ain't fucking like a million years old or whatever. Like,
what do you mean a second ID?
All kinds of shit. That's what you're white. You're white. You never get asked for a second ID.
I'll tell you.
You never get asked for that shit.
I'll tell you what.
So what's wrong with your first ID?
We have a lot of.
Apparently, it doesn't look like me.
We have a lot of stories to cover. We're gonna check out of this conversation and go to a commercial and be right back.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
It's the industry's longest continuously operating retailer, West Hollywood's president of cannabis tourism, known to many for smoking the best weed in the world and being Smoky Vanilla's tabletop muse. Coming up, you know who it is, Jason Beck.
Oh, yeah, here you go, Rico. There. Well, I'll tell you what. Oh man, my story is definitely going to trigger some people today. In case you're wondering, okay? Because all these people that like trees. Oh man, they're not going to like this one because purple weed could save California pot farms from a severe pathogen. They say an estimated 90% of California cannabis farms are infected with a severe pathogen that can destroy the value of pot plants, leaving cannabis farmers with a worthless harvest. But a recent scientific breakthrough is offering a glimmer of hope for the big bluggered farmers. That's right. Scientists have discovered a type of purple-colored cannabis that appears to fight the widespread plant disease, which is called hop latent viroid, or HLVD. HLVD damages cannabis plants and significantly reduces their value by decreasing the amount of active compounds like THC that they produce. But 2 weeks ago, a group of scientists at Medical Genomics, a Massachusetts-based company, announced they had accidentally discovered that one of their cannabis plants appears to be potentially resistant to HLVD. The scientists also noticed that plant turned purple as it was fighting the disease. Cannabis plants can occasionally turn from green to other colors like red, blue, or purple because of genetic or environmental factors. Purple plants have long been valued in the cannabis community with prizes strains like Granddaddy Purple and Mendocino Purps and, of course, Purple Haze. But Kevin McKernan, the chief science officer for the Medical Genomics, announced his company's findings earlier this month at a conference in Florida. McKernan said that that plant was significantly more purple than a second plant, and that had the same genetics, but was not exposed to the viroid. In a quote, "We don't know why this is happening. This could be an immune response, but we're not seeing this purple coloring as heavily increased in the control that's not infected," Kernan said. A major threat to cannabis farms. Zamir K. Punja, a Canadian professor of plant biology, said this at the same conference that he considers HLVD to be a major threat to cannabis farms, and he said his research has found that infected plants can reduce their THC yield by 40%, causing severe economic damage to a farm. It's extremely hard to get rid of the pathogen because HLVD spreads easily between plants, sticking to tools and circulating inside a pot farm's water supply. Not only that, but once a plant is infected with HLVD, it makes the plant more susceptible to catching other diseases, a phenomenon that led
Punja to dub HLVD the COVID of the cannabis world. Oh, man. The good news is HLVD does not pose any health risk to humans because it strictly affects plants. And Punja said he added that there is evidence that some varieties of cannabis are much more resistant to the effects of HLVD. There are plants or cultivate, in a quote, there are plants or cultivators or chemovars that differ in their ability to withstand this viroid. Some can fight this thing off much better than others, Punja said. Punja's analysis, combined with recent discovery at Medical Genomics, began the question, could California farmers really be saved by purple weed? And McKernan says his company didn't originally realize that they had a plant with a unique response to HLVD. The scientists were intentionally infecting plants with HLVD to try to understand how disease changes infected plants. They rubbed the viroid directly onto cut leaves of the plant and established method for infecting plants with diseases. But then they ran into a surprising problem. One of their specimens, a variety of cannabis they call Jamaican lion, would not infect, according to McKernan. The team repeatedly exposed the plant to HLVD over the course of 6 weeks, but the plant never tested positive for the virus. Finally, the scientists injected the viroid directly into the stem of the plant, but even then the disease appeared to only infect the plant's root and not any of the leaves. The team then noticed the infected plant's leaves and flowers were turning purple, but a second uninfected version of the same plant was not changing color. They continued to test the plant for HLVD, but 57 out of 57 tests on purple plant tissue turned up negative. The only leaves that ever tested positive for the virus were green leaves on the lower part of the plant. It's not clear why the purple plant material is associated with fighting this disease. McKernan attributed the color change to, in quotes, jacked up production of anthocyanin. I'm murdered that, ANTHOCYANIN, a plant chemical that can turn cannabis purple. McKernan said it's worth investigating more purple plants to see if they're tolerant to HLVD because anthocyanin production is already linked to fighting viroids. And in a quote, he says, there is literature that links anthocyanin production with the viroid infection, this in different plants and with different viroids, but these anthocyanins are a known immune response for plants, McKernan told SF Gate in an email. And McKernan added that his company is running new experiments with their Jamaican lion plants to better understand how the variety fights HLVD, and cannabis farmers are currently fighting HLVD with a combination of cleaning techniques and constant testing in the hope that they can remove infected plants and reduce the spread by cleaning their farms. But McKernan said at the conference that his company's findings that the cannabis farms will need to use new breeding technology to fight this disease and not rely on exclusively on cleaning agents. In a quote, you're not going to bleach your way out of this problem. You're going to have to breed your way out of this problem, McKernan said. Oh, man, purple weed to the rescue in a world where all of the trap kings, all that they want is purple weed. What do y'all think about this?
It's a shame that Nicole Buffong isn't on here with us today.
Oh, purple plant
magic. She
can
provide some of her purple plant magic here. So it's crazy how quick that they came up with a cure to VD for plants, for weed, man.
I'm surprised that they chose to call it the COVID for plants. I would have called it something else.
What would you call it, Jason?
I would have called it something else.
It's a venereal disease, right?
Yeah, I would have called it the HIV of cannabis diseases.
It's more like the HPV.
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
If your plant's got the drip, better check the tip.
It's not a drip. It just makes them turn colors, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, man. So if you smoke these infected plants, like what happens? I mean, it said it doesn't affect humans. It just makes your weed like less potent.
Yeah, it just makes it so that it does affect humans because you're not able to sell this weed. So it affects your pocketbooks of the humans, not necessarily your internal system.
You sure this isn't just a puff piece for Granddaddy Perp?
I mean, it could be. You never know. But I don't know of any trappers that sponsor purple weed reviews.
I don't know, man. There could be some trappers out there that are molecular biologists. We don't know, man. We just haven't found them yet.
Oh, jeez, you're a dreamer.
Just saying, man. Or it could have been produced by AI.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What do you guys think about this?
What the hell are y'all talking about? Jesus.
We're talking about HLVD, the haploid latent virus.
We're trying to save the world over here, Gretchen.
Yeah, we're trying to save the
Is this getting stopped in testing? Do they you can't sell it? It's done at that point? Or is it just stunt the growth of the plant?
It messes up the yield to where you're really not able to have a real harvest. Like you're like anything that has this in it, you're not going to have a fruitful harvest. You're going to get a very marginal price for your product, and even if you can actually even sell it.
Does it actually affect flower production, or is it just the potency of the flower?
It affects the flower production.
Has this affected?
So you don't get flowers.
I mean, you'll still get some flowers. You're not going to get like nice, sexy nugs, and you know what I mean.
Were they going to be like little?
They're going to be like little preemy little buds. You know what I mean?
Little mosquito bumps.
Yeah. Little baby bumps.
Little lady lumps. Shout out to Fergie. Shout out to
yeah. Oh man.
What do you think about this one, Rachelle?
Well, no offense. Do you think it's really even going to matter? Because don't all you guys just lie on your COAs anyway about?
We don't. You guys, hold on. First of all, Gretchen, I take offense to that.
Californians.
I take offense to that because it's not us that lie on it; it's the labs that lie. All right, so get that twist, get that straight.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Yeah. Guess what? All the labs lie. There's not a single lab that doesn't lie. Okay.
Dexter's.
You're telling me there's not one legit lab.
There's not one single legit lab that doesn't produce antiquated test results.
There's a lukewarm take right there. It's lukewarm. It wasn't quite hot. I don't know. Rachelle, what do you think about this one?
Try to unmute myself. I mean, I really respect Lester's reporting. Just want to say shout out to Lester Black, who wrote that article. He's been covering this quite a bit lately. And yeah, I mean, there was someone in the comments who said this whole thing was a sham and this isn't really affecting as many plants as people say, but I trust Lester's reporting. So I can't really speak to that.
I'm sorry. Where did it say how much it was affecting, Jason? How many plants?
It did 90%.
90%.
90, Gretchen. 90. That's right. All that outdoor booth. 90% of it.
It said not indoor at all. It only affects outdoors. What you're telling me?
No, it affects both. But I just wanted to talk about your outdoor booth.
So could this HLVD be the antidote to booth?
Oh no! You know what? Never mind. You guys, we're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna move right on to our spicy redheaded conservative Gretchen Gailey. She's the founder of Panoptic Strategies and loves to parade her dogs up and down the Capitol in obnoxious clothing, making them look like cannabis protesters outside of a cannabis protest outside of the Capitol. That's right. It is none other than the Gretchen Gailey.
Once again, Jason Beck, you're putting out. Able to find any good cannabis dog clothes. So if anyone's got them out there, let me know. I'm happy to dress up my babies. Send it this way. My headline this morning's coming from Marijuana Moment. FDA and FTC send warning letters about copycat Delta 8 THC products resembling popular food brands like Doritos. The FDA and FTC have teamed up to send warning letters to 6 companies that the agencies say are unlawfully selling copycat Delta 8 THC products that are misleadingly packaged to mimic popular brands like Doritos, Cheetos, and Jolly Ranchers. The market for Delta 8 THC and other novel cannabinoids has rapidly expanded in recent years, following the legalization of hemp and its derivatives under the 2018 Farm Bill. FDA and FTC have generally exercised discretion in taking enforcement action against businesses that are selling products containing substances like CBD or Delta 8. Targeting those packaging or claims about medical benefits are especially misleading. These latest warning letters focus on 2 areas of federal law. First, they allege violations of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act because they contain the unapproved additive Delta 8 tetrahydrocannabinol. The officials then detail what they call copycat products that are packaged in ways that resemble popular brands that could appeal to children and lead to accidental consumption of the intoxicating cannabinoid. Children are more vulnerable than adults to the effects of THC, with many who have been sickened and even hospitalized after eating edibles containing it, according to the FDA Principal Deputy Commissioner Janet Woodcock. That is why we're issuing warnings to several companies selling copycat food products containing Delta-8 THC, which can be easily mistaken for popular foods that are appealing to children and can make it easy for young child to ingest very high doses without realizing it. The products we are warning against intentionally mimic well-known snack food brands by using similar brand names, logos, or pictures on packaging that consumers, especially children, may confuse with traditional snack foods. We're also concerned that adults could unintentionally take them or take a higher dose than expected and suffer serious consequences. This risk is especially dangerous for those who are driving, working, or have other responsibilities. The FDA remains committed to taking action against any company illegally selling regulated products that could pose a risk to public health. The companies that received the warning letters are Delta-8 Munchies, Dr. Smoke LLC, Exclusive Hemp Farms, Oship, Nikit Wholesale LLC, and North Carolina Hemp Exchange, and the Haunted Vapor Room. FDA said it received reports of serious adverse events experienced by people who consume Delta-8 products, adding that it is also concerned that companies are producing Delta-8 THC in ways that could result in products with harmful contaminants. The FDA first sent a batch of warning letters regarding Delta-8 THC products last year, publicizing information about what it described as unsanctioned medical claims and the items. For this round, the FTC also weighed in, focusing on alleged violations related to copycat marketing. Marketing edible THC products that can be easily mistaken by children for regular food is reckless and illegal, Samuel Levine, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection, said. Companies must ensure that their products are marked safely and responsibly, especially when it comes to protecting the well-being of children. The businesses that receive the letters must respond to both agencies within 15 days to either contest the claims or outline what they are doing to cease sales of the specific products and get into compliance. Failure to promptly address the violations may result in legal action, including product seizure and or injunction, according to the FDA. This goes on to talk a little bit more about good old FDA and their complete inaction. Number one, I got a couple of points here. The industry needs to stop doing this copycat bullshit marketing. For once, I wholeheartedly agree with the FDA and the FTC. Because these Delta-8 products are accessible. They are on store shelves where children could, in theory, get them. Number two, why do we have to jump onto every other person's branding and marketing? It just gets us in trouble. Look at the Skittles guys that we've been reporting on earlier this week. It's all bullshit. And frankly, the FDA needs to get in the effing game if they really want to protect Americans. What they're doing now, sending some letters, is some bullshit. FDA, come out with some fucking regulations already. Congress has told you to do it. Everyone is telling you to do it. What the fuck are you waiting for? This Gretchen for High at 9 News.
Damn, Gretchen, that's a lot of F-bombs. This gets you all spicy
today.
I like that kind of
Gretchen. The FDA deserves some F-bombs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all fairness, the FDA starts with an F.
True.
And
I was going for alliteration.
And it ends with a DA.
See that nuance? You wouldn't get that from any of that chat GPT.
That's right. That's very true.
All right, so
I have a question for Gretchen. Is this more like a safety issue or a copyright issue that's at like the heart of this thing?
I would say it's both. The FDA is taking the safety side. The FTC is taking the marketing side.
Got it.
Yeah, I agree. It's lazy marketing. There's no reason for it. Sell your booth, not in a Doritos bag. It's past time. And Delta-8, get back in line. What are you doing jumping the line? That never should have been able to happen. So
I think it's interesting. I was just trying to show Jason, trying to replicate this. I'm probably gonna do it in my incognito window here. It's not just regular companies getting ripped off by these knockoff products. I just went on the page for the first one, the Delta. I forget what it is. I'll bring it up here in a second. But it has a cookies logo on it too. Delta Munchies LLC. If you go to
Delta Munchies, yeah,
it's like a cookies logo on it. So there's like real companies being ripped off in the cannabis industry by these companies too. They're just bold as fuck. These are not your daddy's trappers that you're used to dealing with. These guys have like real companies set up on the internet, and they're easy to trace too. So I don't know about this, man. I don't know where to begin. Like, are they snitching on themselves? Like, what's going to happen when they actually get to these companies do they even exist?
If you're always going to have knockoff brands. I mean, even with luxury bags and shoes and clothes and whatever the case may be, you got another company off there that's going to ride on the coattails of the success of another brand, you know? So it's going to happen. As a consumer, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if anything, I think it's clever marketing by those companies to use that imagery to advance their business. And that's just the free market in the way that it is. So as far as other businesses like Doritos and Skittles or whatever getting pissed about another company jacking their imagery to, sell their products, then hey, take them to court, do it the legal way. But as far as the consumer is concerned, they don't care, man. Never did, never will. The
thing too is, though, as far as the consumer is concerned, when mainstream news stations run reports on this and they show the Doritos bags and the Nerds bags, they're not saying that this is illegal product. They're usually just saying this is cannabis. This is the cannabis market. They're not distinguishing between the two to the general public, and I don't think that's right.
Right about that.
The makers of this stuff, like if you just go down a little bit, now you don't have to go deep down the rabbit hole on this one. On the complaint, you go on the FDA's website, you see the complaint, you see the name of the company, as the name of the owner of the company, Radiant Huang, Delta Munchies LLC. This is downtown Los Angeles too, 1100 Hope Street. And I just Googled this guy's name. He has a LinkedIn.
Of course he does. Of course he does, because LinkedIn is for corporate trapping.
Like, this guy's like easy to find, and it's like easily traceable to his company. Like what kind of trapping is this shit? Like, is this that guy an FDA plant? Like, what's going on here, Jason? I've never seen anything on this level, and the makers of said knockoff products so easy to find.
I mean, it's not hard to knock off these products.
The problem with this, Rico, is that this isn't regulated.
Exactly.
So these are the same guys, frankly, in Union Square with their card tables. This guy's just doing it on a bigger level. They're going to do it until they can get away with it, until they're shut down. They're going to make money while they can. And that's what we're going to see from a lot of folks until they step in.
It just seems stupid to me. There's a digital trail.
Quick money, Rico. It's why? Then he comes in and says, you guys didn't regulate this. Delta 8 is sort of legal because you guys didn't work out the gray loopholes in the Farm Bill, so you can't bitch at me.
He's making knockoff Doritos.
Marketing standards. Great. Doritos needs to take the time to sue him, like Wildstar is saying. And are these folks going to take the time to do this shit? I'm saying this guy is operating totally in the gray, and that's how they're able to get away with this until someone actually puts some enforcement behind this and stops sending some bullshit letters and shuts this shit down.
Okay.
They're not going to shut nothing down.
Not a damn thing.
Not a chance. They're not going to do that. They don't want to do their jobs. The regulators don't want to do their job. That's just what it is.
Well, and frankly, even if the regulators try to do their jobs, do they have the enforcement to go in and shut these places down? Doubtful.
I mean, I think they could. I think they could enlist local enforcement to help them out with this, and all they have to do is just cut them in on the proceeds that they seize when they go in there and shut them down.
Get them out.
Yeah, right. Like that ever happens, you're out your mind.
I'm just saying, it does happen all the time.
Sharing the wealth. That's not how the federal government works, Jason Beck.
That is how it works. I've watched it happen. I've watched it numerous times with seizures, and I've been seized many a times, Gretchen. So you can't argue with me on this. Hold on, I got one before you.
You're sitting there at the table where the local law enforcement told you what cut they got for showing up to shut you down.
Jason's right.
They told you that,
and Gretchen is wrong.
Oh my God, I would love some truth, mister. I love to play in the gray area of the truth every fucking day.
It's funny, yeah. Okay, Gretchen, Trapper Gretchen. So, but our next correspondent is repping Austin, Texas, out the great purple state of Texas. Purple. We're talking about purple today. He's also a host of a show called Hitting the High Road, where he goes out there and shows that he is proof positive that the stars at night are still big and bright. Boom, 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 boom. Down in the heart of Texas. Stone Slade, what you got for us today, my man?
No, bro. Where's the... Nothing? Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Rico. Excellent. I waited for the applause that never came. My story today comes out of Denver, Colorado. Denver's cannabis landscape has undergone a remarkable transformation since 2012, alleviating concerns about crime and embracing a new era of adult legalization. Over the span of almost a decade, the Mile High City has witnessed an impressive 200% decline in cannabis-related offenses, effectively dispelling fears associated with the legalization movement. The journey began with a decisive ballot initiative in 2012, granting approval for the adult use of cannabis. By 2014, Colorado established a well-defined regulatory framework to facilitate legal sales. Advocates of legalization promised a decrease in crime, the allocation of tax revenue to support public programs, and the emergence of a multi-billion-dollar industry. As it turns out, these promises were more than just rhetoric. According to the annual cannabis report from the Denver Department of Excise and Licenses, cannabis-related crime has seen a significant drop since legalization. In 2014, the first year of legal cannabis sales, Denver reported 788 instances of cannabis-related crimes, both within and outside of the industry. Fast forward to the present, and that number has plummeted to 263 cases. In fact, cannabis-related crimes now account for less than 1% of Denver's overall reported crime, highlighting the substantial progress made in curbing illegal activities. When I interviewed Colorado Governor Jared Polis for the Denver episode of Hitting the High Road, he expressed his views on the positive impact of legalizing cannabis. He stated, "It really helps drive the criminal element out of the cannabis business, emphasizing the role legalization plays in illicit operations." Governor Polis further added, "It empowers entrepreneurs and legitimate business people rather than drug lords or gangs, highlighting the shift towards a more legitimate and responsible industry." Another significant statistic that compels the overall positive trend is the drastic reduction in DUIs and DUID arrests. In 2014, Denver recorded a staggering 2,872 arrests for driving under the influence. Last year, that number reached a record low of 1,229, marking a significant milestone in the city's decade-long battle against impaired driving. However, it's important to note that accurately assessing someone's level of cannabis intoxication remains a challenge. While 2022 witnessed a record number of positive roadside THC tests, it's worth mentioning that these tests alone do not provide a comprehensive measure of impaired driving caused by cannabis on Denver streets. Now, due to the complexities of determining cannabis intoxication, finding an accurate and reliable method of testing remains an ongoing concern. Gretchen's all for it. I'm against it. As Denver cannabis industry continues to evolve, shedding its previous stigma, the city serves as a prime example of how responsible adult use legalization can effectively reduce crime, empower entrepreneurs, and foster a vibrant economy. The transformative power of cannabis legalization is evident, showcasing a journey of progress and societal change. I'm Stone Slade, reporting for the High at 9 News Hour.
Look at that, man. Weed even solves the crime problems.
Mm-hmm.
It increases your investments on real estate. It lowers your crime, and it keeps your children safe. Smoke more weed.
Smoke more weed. That's right. We need more cannabis businesses. But what we need to do is lower all these taxes so then we actually could open more cannabis businesses and make the streets safer.
No taxes. Taxes theft.
That's right. Taxes theft. I still think we should just throw all the outdoor weed into the ocean.
But then it'll mutate, man, and it'll gain a
we'll turn it into
resistance.
I'll take it.
We'll turn it into sea kelp.
Ooh, you smoking on that seaweed? Ooh.
For all the people out there that think that OG stands for ocean grown, this all the outdoor weed would be just for you.
That's a real draw right there.
What do you think about this, Gretchen? All this crime going down around cannabis?
Yeah.
What are all the parents of all the children going to say about this? I have zero problem with crime going down, Jason. I'm a big fan of crime going down. And I think that is the message that needs to be going out to all these communities that say no to cannabis in their backyard.
And guess what?
That when you embrace the legal markets, crime goes down.
Well, safe banking has not been passed and crime is going down. Do you think there is still a need for safe banking?
Of course, there's a need for safe banking, without a doubt.
So there goes your straw man argument.
Stop it.
There goes your straw man argument.
The only straw man going on over here, Rico, is whoever had that baggie of cocaine in the White House, because word on the streets is there was a straw also found with this baggie of cocaine.
Hey, well, let's be inclusive. It's a straw person.
It's a straw man. It's a straw man.
Straw person. It has not been confirmed as a man, woman, or we do not know.
Guess what? Well, man, there's man involved, and man, there's man involved. So it was a man. How about that?
Whoa. Is he?
Yeah, whoa. we're gonna keep it moving. Coming up next, that's right. We have Rachelle gonna join us today. She's the editor over at Green Media Reports, and she has an extensive Lego collection and loves to throw them at people when they don't agree with her. That's right. It is Rachelle Gordon.
Greenstate.com, Jason Beck.
Shit, I'm sorry. Greenstate.com. Make sure you check them out. Greenstate.com. I apologize. Sorry.
Dude, you get it wrong every week.
Hey, at least I'm consistent, Gretchen. At least I'm consistent, okay?
Consistently wrong, as we've all seen.
Thank you, Gretchen. So this week, I am talking about the Psychedelic Science 2023 conference that was in Denver a couple weeks ago, presented by MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. Even though the event was a couple of weeks ago, I really took my time because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to say. And I put up a piece today on Green State entitled Perceptions, Platforms, and Protecting Sacred Medicine, Musings on Psychedelic Science 2023. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's not that long, but it's long enough, but I'll paraphrase it for you really quick. For those of you who are not familiar, psychedelic science is basically an Olympics of psychedelics. It only happens every 4 years. It brings together a true who's who of the psychedelic space. You've got basically every superstar, quote unquote, in the game. You've got Michael Pollan, you've got Paul Stamets, you've got all these great folks, you've got researchers, you've got activists, you've got Burning Man people, you've got celebrities like Aaron Rodgers and Jaden Smith, all coming together to talk about psychedelics, talk about the latest breakthroughs and studies, all kinds of things, lots of parties. It's huge. It was a great time. It was really, really interesting to see what's been going on in the last few years, to hear from all these great minds. But a lot of debate was brought up too. And that was kind of the difficult part for me because on the one hand, I am super, super stoked about what these compounds can do for people, especially folks who are battling with mental health conditions. But as we move toward a corporatization of some of these more sacred medicines, psilocybin, peyote, things like that, we're in this weird intersection, right? It's like, how can we respect and honor the cultural traditions that brought up these medicines and also respect the fact that we live in a corporate society, and that's how these things need to go, right? There's regulations that need to be followed. We have to go through the proper channels if we want to get these things regulated in our country. And I worry about accessibility and things of that nature. The conference was expensive. There's no doubt about that. I believe the cheapest ticket was $800. A business pass was $1,800. MAPS did make a number of scholarships available for people who needed them, but you factor in the travel, everything that goes into it, it's a lot of money, and so it was difficult for people to get there. But there were ample opportunities for people to show up. There were a lot of different voices that were heard, including those that were critical of MAPS. So they tried to make space for Indigenous voices, but what concerned me more than anything, at least for a time, was the public perception of the event. I got a lot of DMs from people who sent me articles about Aaron Rodgers speaking. That was the mainstream media story. Like, Aaron Rodgers is coming out and talking about his ayahuasca trip, talking about puking and shitting. And I'm like, that's what we're going to talk about? Like, that's what the media is going to focus on, is this, as opposed to everything else going on with this debate. And part of me wondered, is it a distraction? Are these the right people who are speaking for our movement? Or is any press good press? If people are talking about it, they're talking about it, and that's a positive. So looking back at the event, there were a lot of debates brought up. And I'm not really sure where we're going to go from here. There's a lot of questions that still need to be answered within this space. How can we reconcile all of these things? And can we live in a world where we have a respect for sacred cultures, but also have our capitalist, FDA-run corporate psychedelic medicine? can those two worlds peacefully coexist, and can the Venn diagram come together? That's what I'm wondering as I left this conference, and I'm sure I'm not the only ones. There was a protest that erupted. I mentioned that in the article. You can find videos on YouTube. I was actually not there for the protest, but I saw many videos. People representing a group called the Native Coalition, who actually spoke the day before, interrupted MAPS founder Rick Doblin during the closing keynote. After pressure from the audience to let the people speak, he did bring them on stage for a short time. And many of them challenged Rick Doblin and MAPS, saying that they are tokenizing indigenous culture, that they didn't do enough to support community elders in their journey, and that they're not doing enough to make sure that all voices are heard. So MAPS put out a statement they sent over to me. They said they obviously understand the challenges that these types of events can bring up, specifically around accessibility, the cost, but that they are doing everything that they can to include as many voices as possible, and that they are actually going to be putting out a report about the conference that will, among other things, highlight some of the ways that they can do better. And hopefully in a few years, when the Psychedelic Science Conference reconvenes, some of these questions will hopefully be answered. So Rachelle Gordon, editor of greenstate.com. I'm curious what everybody else thinks about the intersection of corporate culture and sacred medicine in the psychedelic space.
Oh man, I have a feeling that corporate psychedelics are just going to ruin it, like corporatization has ruined cannabis. Yeah, psychedelics is next on the chopping block. It's just like, what was that guy named that created Napster?
Justin Timberlake?
No. Anyways, the guy that created Napster is the same guy that funded Prop 64 and killed the weed game. And so I imagine that we're going to see something very, very similar happen with psychedelics, and Rick Doblin's at the helm. Yes, Sean Parker. Yes, thank you, Gretchen. Great job. Great job.
Timberlake played him in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you caught that.
Do you really, and truly, do you really, I think psychedelics are going to go the way of big pharma.
100% they are. But that's my point, is that kills the whole industry.
And it oppresses the sacred plant, and that's where these protests are coming from, because it's a limited supply of that, and their supply is being exploited, and it's about to be taken over by big pharma. So I'm glad that they did give a chance for the indigenous people to speak on this, but this has been an issue since the psychedelic movement started to really gain legs a few years ago. They the national chapter of Decriminalize America was silencing the protests from Native people, and now that we're at stage 4, stage 5 of the movement, they're finally giving them a chance to speak. This is cannabis expedited. See a lot of parallels.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I feel like that with the difference with cannabis and psychedelics is that the psychedelic space is moving a lot faster because it's on a healthcare track. Everyone kind of agrees that that's how it's going to have to play out. There's never really a conversation about recreational mushrooms, right? It's all going to be this regulated therapy, physician assisted, ketamine, things like that. And so I think things are moving a lot faster because there isn't that internal debate.
I think the only reason it's moving faster is because you can single compound these things, and that's just a big win for big pharma, because that's all that they want is single compounds.
And it's not a Schedule 1.
2 is better than 1.
Oh God.
and I also think it's moving faster because it doesn't have the stigma attached to it that cannabis has for years to overcome.
Yeah, because black people ain't protesting.
No, Jesus.
What? You think it is
exactly?
Wrong?
Thank you for the eye roll, Gretchen.
Yeah, you think? Of course, the conservatives.
Thanks for the eye roll, Gretchen. Gretchen, what were you going to say?
Yeah,
Gretchen?
You don't have the war on drugs.
I don't fucking remember. I've been cut off so many times during this story, so the hell with it.
Oh,
where's Wildstar? I need some Wildstar in my life.
All right,
death by a million cut off.
Let's thank you so much for covering that, Rachelle. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
And we do want to make a quick note before you do introduce Nickolas Wildstar, Rico. We do want to wish him a happy voyage, as he is going to be starting a new position very soon. This is going to be his last week with us for a number of months until he's able to come back. And so we do want to wish him much success on his new career path going forward, and anything that we can do to help out, don't hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely, man. And it is my absolute pleasure to introduce one more time this Fresno-based raptivist, the strong, sane voice that Black conservatives need and Joe Biden liberals fear the most. He's here to promote freedom, bring balance, and offer perspective from the Black side of liberty. This morning, Nickolas Wildstar.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that intro, and thank you so much for having me here on this platform with you guys. It's been a pleasure and an honor to sit down and discuss these topics with you each week and hopefully advance the cause out there with the rest of the community, and they can see the value in what we are presenting here and all of this information about how we could put it to use, because in what should be a very concerning move to every cannabis connoisseur, Santa Barbara County's Board of Supervisors has given preliminary approval to a law that could have disastrous consequences for cannabis businesses. Santa Barbara County's Board of Supervisors has given preliminary approval to a law that could have disastrous consequences, again, for the cannabis businesses. Under this new measure, any cannabis company that falls more than 30 days behind on a tax payment could face severe repercussions, including a complete shutdown of their operations. This approach has been likened to a death penalty for these businesses, with no room for exceptions or leniency. Although the amendment received unanimous support during the first reading on June 27th, it still requires a second vote before becoming law later this month. Two board members expressed reservations about the amendment's harsh penalties, arguing that it deviates from standard tax collection practices. Supervisor Steve Lavigno voiced his concern, stating that the county has gone from minor penalties to extreme measures. He suggested that a more reasonable solution should be sought, one that strikes a balance between enforcement and fairness. However, Lavigno ultimately voted in favor of the measure after it was clarified the cannabis companies would have a 30-day grace period to settle their county taxes. For instance, if a tax bill is due on January 1st, cannabis companies would have until January 30th to make that payment. Failure to comply by February 1st would result in the loss of their license. Santa Barbara County boasts one of the largest cannabis farming industries, rivaling even Humboldt County in terms of overall cannabis production. However, tax payments have become a pressing issue for the entire state's cannabis sector. Many companies throughout the supply chain are grappling with substantial debt, and numerous cannabis stores missed the crucial tax deadline for state taxes this year. To address this problem, Santa Barbara County charges cannabis cultivators a 4% tax on their business revenue, payable on a quarterly basis. Unfortunately, the county has encountered difficulties in collecting taxes from these businesses. According to Brittany Oderman, the Deputy County Executive Officer, the current county law permits pot farms to indefinitely postpone their quarterly tax payments, resulting in some farmers paying their taxes nearly a year late. To rectify this issue, the proposed law aims to swiftly revoke a business license if a cannabis company is more than 30 days overdue on a quarterly tax bill. Oderman emphasized that there would be no exceptions to this rule, even for businesses in good standing. Supervisor Das Williams, despite voting in favor of the measure, expressed concerns during the meeting that the severe penalties for late payments would likely force most companies out of business. He pointed out that such stringent standards are not applied in any other industry, and suggested if everyone adhered to this approach, many people would risk losing their jobs. The final vote on the amendment is scheduled for next week, and if approved, it will take effect on August 10th. This is Nick Wildstar, aka the Governor, reporting for the High at 9 News Hour. For the last time, until next time, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Oh man, the death penalty for cannabis businesses.
Taxation is theft. I told y'all.
Hey, we know that taxation is theft. We're all the way with you, Nickolas. Now, question. So this is just a proposed. So they still have to have their first and their second reading in regards to this, right, before it can go into effect.
No, it passed the first reading.
It passed
the
first
one,
reading.
if it's passed at the end of the month, goes and it becomes law, and that takes effect August 10th. So,
and this is strictly
for
for
business own $10,000 in taxes, and they can't pay that before the end of the month. They're going to lose their license and eventually go out of business.
Well, yeah, because as soon as they lose their local license, which is what they would be able to take away, then the state will revoke their state license, and then therefore they will be out of business.
So the
all for not paying the man their cut,
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what this is all about. Let's
exactly.
Be honest.
All right, so Santa Barbara home prices were down 17% last year, bringing it to a median price for your average home in Santa Barbara to $1.5 million. I'm surprised it's taken this long for people to tax people out of the business in Santa Barbara County.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
limousine liberals running that.
I'm willing to bet that this was put together by all the strawberry farmers, because all the strawberry farmers and the wine guys are all up in arms about all the cannabis farms out there in this area. So I would be willing to get that this is because of that.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Santa Barbara, isn't that where Glass House is? Are they going to be now for sure?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people there.
I see what you did there, Rachelle.
Yep.
I see what you did there, Rachelle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
exactly.
Anybody else want to talk about Glass House right now?
I mean, I think Glass House is going to be fine to be able to pay their bills. I worry about other companies that aren't doing as well or have as much notoriety that wouldn't be able to raise appropriate funds to make sure that their bills are paid on time.
Well,
they always say they want to help the little guy, but this, of course, is going to kill the small businesses that have been hobbling along this entire time, trying to make ends meet.
Right.
So,
instead of
if anything, it's a way to further that divide between the haves and haves not.
Mm-hmm. Taxation has been probably the biggest Achilles heel for the industry up to this date. So instead of punishing these businesses, why not offer them tax amnesty?
That's what I would have done if I would have gotten elected governor.
That's right.
Don't forget me next time around, y'all.
Hey, I can say it now, man. I voted for you, governor. I voted for the governor, and I was very, very upset when you didn't make it to the next level there because the game is rigged.
Mm-hmm. That's all those unions out here in California.
The game is rigged, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if Governor Wildstar had made it into office, things would have been so very different, man. But there's a spot for you against individual one.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. It's a bit too late to jump in a presidential race, but the next governor's race in California is in 2026. So we got a little bit of time to make some moves. And Rico, I appreciate everything you've done to give me an opportunity to be heard by more people. Ever since we met, you've been a big advocate for me and, for liberty, for all of the people out there that think, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever the case may be. We're free thinking people here in California.
Yes,
we want to get away from the whole dualistic political system that's divided us, So thank you again, Rico, for being a pioneer in the industry, as well as Jason, you know what I'm saying? All of you guys for just, again, giving me an opportunity to speak and be heard by more people and inviting me in. I love you all as much as I love cannabis. Believe that.
It's been a long time coming. But thank you all out there for tuning in with us for yet another episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines that you tell us matter most, because we're all democratic and shit. Our tenured industry correspondent team tuning in from all over and bringing us much needed variety, perspective, and adding your vetted opinions to the conversation. Our production team, the wonderful Jaja Simone, the Vortex, Cloud Media Partners, and Jaja Simone over there holding us down on other platforms too. All of our sponsors keeping our AV struggles in check. And to the haters out there, I got my hater-proof vest on today. Today's the greatest day of all. It is July 6th, 2023, my birthday. I hope you all had enough to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. Remember, when life gives you no place else to turn, you can always turn the fuck up. But for his last appearance on our show today, Governor Wildstar, take us out, my man.
Hey, happy birthday to you, Rico.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Rico. You're just a little bit older today.
Hey, just a little bit older. My heart's a little bit colder.
Yeah, I bet.